Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Monday, March 2nd, and this is your place for helpful crypto news, commentary, answers to your questions, and who knows what we'll get into today, this week, wherever you are, whenever you listen. You can catch the Rise Up Morning Show on your favorite social. Find us at rumshq.com Monday through Thursday. And then check out all the other stuff we've got there too, including our free educational community. It's the best way to get in touch with us. It's where the show lives 24/7. All of our resources live there. It's community.rumshq.com. I'm Evan. He's Alex. He's Will. And we are so glad that you're here with us. How you guys doing today?
You know, I always field that question first. Alex, how about you field it? How are you?
I specifically let you go first so that we don't step on each other in the rush.
I know you do.
I also suspect it gives them a second to think, oh shit, I answer this question every day, but wait a second, how am I?
How am I? Everything fixed.
I'm good. I'm rested. I'm excited to be back. I took took some time last week for a combination of vacations and family in town, and then I just got wonderfully sick right at the tail end of all of it. But holy crap, did a lot of stuff happen. So excited to be back, I guess.
Yeah. What about you, Will?
Yeah, they'll have to rename the song "Bombs Over Baghdad" to "Bombs Over Tehran." It's an Outcast reference. Bombs over Baghdad. Anyway, yeah, let's see. Other than the war breaking out, it was a really nice weekend. I needed a very relaxing weekend, and I went and hung out with my old roommate, who I lived with for 8 years, and we just had like a great old day. And Violet, my girlfriend, joined us as well, and we just like got a bunch of Italian food and got a bunch of cocktails at one of my favorite bars, where they have this secret menu. And they have this little tiny paper card that they give you and only give it to you one time. If you lose it, it's gone forever. It's like something on the blockchain. And there's a secret menu of cocktails on it. And they give you a D20 dice. It's like a Dungeon and Dragon dice. And you roll it on the table. And you slowly start filling out this card of their secret martinis. And you can only order those martinis and cocktails if you have rolled the dice before in the past. And we were there for a few hours, and I got like 4 new martinis unlocked. And my buddy was like, oh, he took a sip. He's like, oh, I'd like to order that. And they're like, do you have it unlocked? He was like, no. He's like, then no. And then put on his heels and turned away. And I was like, oh, that was so good. And also the man was like a very like sassy, like European man. And I was just like, this is perfect. It's so good. And then
I've never seen anything like that. And that is the coolest like bar gag gimmick feature I've ever heard.
100%.
So cool. And there was this table that was right behind us who this guy had 19, because there's 20 martinis on the secret menu. He had 19 of them, and he finally rolled his last one. He's been trying to get it for like, he told us like 2 years, and he's like, yeah! And he's like, I've been coming in every weekend. Like, it's such a good way to get repeat customers. Awesome. Yeah, it's really good. And we were all pumped. Anyway, we just drank all day, and then Violet and I ended up at an Irish pub and got dinner and had some Jameson and all that kind of stuff. And then yesterday got the toxins out, went to an outdoor sauna and cold plunge for like 2 hours, and met a bunch of people there. Was just shooting the shit, hanging out, having a good time. It was very relaxing. I needed it because this last work week was fucking brutal. My Friday was killer, and I told Alex backstage I had the Sunday scaries for the first time, just thinking about all the work I have this week. And Alex was like, what is the Sunday scaries? And I was like, oh, interesting. If you don't know, it's just the feeling of anxiety you get on Sunday thinking about work on Monday. And I typically like my work. And now I'm just like, I really want Rise Up. I really need us to make a lot of money, guys, so I can hurry up and quit.
We're working on it.
I know.
If you want to sponsor the show,
I'm trying.
It probably just has something to do with having unconventional jobs and careers for my entire professional life, because there's not really a such thing, at least in the way that I was in the military. There was no Monday was not really a thing, because you worked all weekend and all week, so no one ever knew what day of the week it was. Yeah, never heard that.
Good point.
Okay, bringing us right into news. We've got some questions, and we've got to start with the question about what happened over the weekend. What does it mean for crypto, for geopolitics? And obviously, we are not political scientists. We are just a couple of fellas sharing our opinions, of course, on the internet.
As you know, we are just two people sharing their opinions on the internet.
Exactly, Alex. That's what I said. Thank you. Steckler has this question. War, what is it good for? Oil price surges, yes. Maybe we can talk a little about these different things happening in the economy. I'll set the scene and just give a quick summary of two events. I want to talk a little about the Anthropic and OpenAI U.S. government skirmish.
Yes.
Because I think everybody's heard a lot about the bombings. There are more qualified people to talk about the different military operations that have carried out over the weekend. But that is a powerful and important backdrop for a battle that's happening for U.S. people at home that remains like in the grips of this current moment. So it's rapidly escalating, this Israeli-Iran conflict. Now we're in day 3. This has really amplified the urgency around specifically AI's role in modern warfare and surveillance. February 28th, last week, like right after the show got off the air, okay? Operation Epic Fury and Operation Roaring Lion were launched, targeting Iranian nuclear sites. And regime change there is the implicit goal. President Trump has signaled strikes could continue for several weeks. And so we have escalated from threats of attack to real-time hot war, missile exchanges. We were checking in on our friends over the weekend. I was thinking about Amber and Mac, who just moved to Dubai. And at home, here's
there right now.
Isn't that wild?
They just moved there.
They just moved, dude.
They just moved there.
So, okay. Amidst all this, the White House has been, and the Pentagon have been pushing OpenAI, Anthropic, and these other Silicon Valley giants who are creating ChatGPT, Claude, etc., to give them the code of these machines, to license it to them, machines, the software, the hardware, whatever, to allow them to use this for warfare. They want to develop autonomous weapons. They want to be able to surveil battlefields. They want to be able to figure out where targets are likely to move, and then have the technology to fire a bullet in all 50 of those places. And Anthropic has refused the Pentagon's ultimatum to drop 2 hard, they call them red lines. This is that there will be no mass domestic surveillance of U.S. citizens and no fully autonomous lethal weapons. They call them laws, LAWS, lethal autonomous weapons, meaning weapons that can kill entirely without a human in the loop at all. Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, made a statement that they cannot in good conscience accede to this, even under threats of contract loss, blacklisting, or any kind of legal work. He said, we'll settle this in court. And the government escalated this by imposing a deadline for them to make a decision, putting further pressure on them, or, consequences would happen. And at that time, when the deadline passed, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth designated Anthropic a supply chain risk to national security. This is totally unprecedented for a U.S. company to be labeled a risk. This is usually reserved for foreign threats like Huawei or ByteDance. And then OpenAI, the same night, steps in. Sam Altman says, hey, we've signed a deal for our models to be used on the Department of Defense's networks. Go ahead.
Don't forget that before they did that, several hours before, they were publicly supporting Anthropic's decision to stick to their guns. And then...
Yeah, that's exactly right. So a lot of this was happening in real time on Twitter. Pete Hegseth is tweeting about this. The White House is tweeting about this. Sam Altman releases a statement and says, we have accepted these terms. He posted the same 2, again, here's this buzzword, red lines, meaning we are not going to do this without you agreeing to this condition, that our technology will not be used for mass surveillance of U.S. citizens, and that it will not be used for autonomous weapons. Now, the difference here is that Altman and OpenAI are trusting the government, essentially. They're saying, yeah, we'll give this to you. We are trusting you not to use it for these purposes. So in the wake of that, there are several kind of implications that have happened in the last 2 days. There are reports that Anthropic started to see increased usage as U.S. forces reportedly used Claude in the initial Iran strikes hours after the ban for battlefield tasks like intel analysis, operational reliance. Anthropic has vowed to sue the government over the supply chain risk designation. It calls it legally unsound, says it's contradictory. Did you have something to add there real quick, Will?
No, I just went,
Okay.
I mean, that's just crazy. No, that's just
I'm almost wrapped.
Just throwing a hissy fit.
Basically, nothing filed yet, no lawsuits yet. But I did see a lot of back and forth on the timeline about how unprecedented this is, about how Anthropic is standing up for what's right, about how wild it is that all these Silicon Valley VCs, Bitcoin holders, and others are cheering OpenAI for giving a government, any government, control of its technology. And so that's got you about caught up. As an average person, you, me, everyone listening, I hope your candles are green because you are both the training data for these models and now you are their potential target. We don't really have any say in what OpenAI or Anthropic or the government are going to do with this technology, but make no mistake, it is going to affect all of us. So ask your questions. Let us know where we can clear things up. If this is beyond your understanding right now, don't let that discourage you from feeling like it will always be. We should be concerned about this. Not like run out and sell everything and flee the country concerned, but we should be paying attention to this, educating ourselves about this so we can become informed advocates about how these companies and our governments are using this technology in ways that affect us. Guys, what do you think about this? Where do you want to take it? There's lots of places we can go, but I'm glad to just pass it to you and defer.
Yeah, it'll be important to note that you will see like, oh, I saw OpenAI said, and again, OpenAI is the company that owns and made ChatGPT. So you don't know the name OpenAI, it's ChatGPT. They said, oh, we put like the same kind of similar stipulations in place that Anthropic had. And, we're going to make sure the government doesn't use us for these things. However, the term that they agreed to was that the government can use their technology for any lawful purpose, which is really, really freaking broad. And also just like, remember, like the Patriot Act is still a thing. That was after, 9/11 and the government can do a whole bunch of spying on its citizens and all that kind of stuff for the purpose of national defense. And, you can just put this under that. And now the United States is using OpenAI for any lawful purpose to, spy on U.S. citizens and surveil and create autonomous robots for lawful purposes. And, I canceled my ChatGPT subscription the next day and immediately went and gave my money to Claude and Anthropic because I support someone telling the government to fuck off when they want unbridled, unrestrained access to AI technology. I've seen Terminator. I know how this goes eventually. So, Anthropic, you get my money. And as, members of the free market, the best way we can say, I don't like this is by directing our money in directions that we want it to go. So I did that.
I'm also thinking about it. Solom Spartan in the comments said, I dropped it too. Several people are saying, I'm not sure what to do about it. On TikTok, I noticed also we've got a warning for talking about this. Of course, you've got to check what we say. You should verify this yourself against as many helpful sources as you can. But isn't it wild where we get content warnings about this kind of thing and where we don't? Oof. Man. What do you think, Al?
This is Larry's TikTok now. So you're allowed to say all sorts of unverified stuff about all kinds of stuff, but not the specific things. You get in trouble for that. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. It's there's a lot here. Like, first of all, my knee jerk was, wow, I feel better about using Anthropic products at this point. At the same time, it felt like it was a demonstration of the fact that there was a hard line they weren't willing to cross, but there were still a lot of acquiesces in the statement that was released by Anthropic that indicate that they really want to play ball, like acknowledging certain terminology changes about the Department of Defense, giving grace in areas where, I feel like perhaps we shouldn't be respecting what the administration wants to do and say. I'm glad that they stuck to their guns, at least in some respect. The reaction to designate them as a supply chain risk is insane, and very petty and toddler behavior. It's yet another example of toddler with giant weapons behavior, which is really scary, to be very honest. It's also just silly, because the idea that an order to stop across the entire federal government using one entire product or piece of technology and port to something else is insane, and it would never work that quickly. And there is so much money involved with like making the switch and removing certain programs and changing tactics. I mean, I remember switching from like one kind of sealant tape to another on helicopter fairings one time, and it took like a year and a half. Switching the entire like intelligence system or whatever AI product all federal computers or employees are using overnight is hilariously stupid. It's yet another demonstration that like the people driving have no idea what they're doing. Or it's just a platitude. It's like a vague, knee jerk, like I said, toddler coded reaction that doesn't mean anything. Why hasn't there been a lawsuit filed? Probably because the blacklist thing isn't real. It was just a tweet that never went any farther than that.
Otherwise you'd see a lawsuit immediately.
Yeah, which is the case. We can't do anything legitimate, so we just sort of like tweet stuff and then see who follows along with it. So like there's nothing written that says you can't do any of this kind of stuff because a tweet is not policy.
What a wild disclaimer that we have to make, right?
You mean, but it's on the Twitter.
I'm going to dial my mic back a little bit. It's hilarious. I'm always the quiet one, but apparently today it's a little hot.
Oh, is that right? Well, actually,
Yes.
Don't dial it back. Let me touch it here.
Okay.
Let me know if that helps, and if Alex is still real hot, we can.
There's this whole Anthropic. My brother, the sales exec one, he switched jobs to a company that specifically, he was in cybersecurity for years, and now he's working for a company specifically putting in AI guardrails within private companies to make sure that the AI that they start putting in doesn't go haywire. And I first found out about this news from his he posted on his Instagram post, like he's very passionate about this kind of stuff. He was trying to tell everybody like, yeah, cancel your ChatGPT OpenAI subscription, move away from it, go to something else. Like this this unbridled growth of AI is cool, great, and grand until, horrible things start happening. So, it's good to have some guardrails in place here.
Are they using any kind of like blockchain or cryptography to decentralize this, or is it like a very centralized like watchdog solution?
No, I mean, they're not using blockchain at all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They're not even going to use it for voting. You think they're going to use it for this?
I am hopeful for it. I personally just don't know of anything else that would allow us to build like a selective visibility internet where users can control what they share, but also verify it. And then we can have both the benefits of transparency and maybe a little privacy without relying on some kind of gatekeeper.
You just got to remember that that's not a priority for anybody in a position of power or authority.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's way down the totem pole.
And to be very honest, I cannot imagine a future wherein it ever will be without some pretty sweeping and major reform and change first.
Yeah, I know. Let's talk about some of the economic impacts. I want to say very quickly by way of transition, especially if you're new, you should know that the technology that makes cryptocurrency possible will make it possible to shield your transactions. If you're interested in this, you might look up something like zero knowledge. Alex is, getting hot and bothered just hearing me say it. Decentralized identities, self-sovereign data, anti-surveillance stuff. Write that down and bring your questions back later, because I don't want to get too far in the weeds, because those things really aren't available yet at scale. They exist. crypto is making them happen. We need to work on it. Can we talk more about, like, okay, this is happening. We can't control it. Everybody always wants to know, what should I buy? What's the play here? Will, can you maybe give us a little context about what we should expect to see with oil, with crypto? We had folks asking us, particularly Steckler, about how to speculate on oil, whether there are any tokenized options available.
Can we address the misinformed elephant in the room about the oil stuff first, really quick?
I would love to, please.
Okay. I want to make the disclaimer here first that this requires actual research because I'm not an expert. The only thing that I do know is something that is patently false that I just wanted to clear up because I've seen it circulated a lot. So it's a very catchy hook to a video or a tweet or something to say that the Strait of Hormuz is officially closed and nothing can go through it. I've seen that video 6 times in the past 24 or 48 hours. The Strait of Hormuz does not work like that. There are people much smarter than me who are experts in that particular area, and there are tools online that you can use to track live traffic through the strait. Traffic can be reduced, but it is effectively not possible to just close it. There's a creator, love him or hate him, he's pretty well informed on TikTok specifically, Mr. Global, who made the great comparison to say that the Strait of Hormuz is not a Starbucks. You cannot just open it and close it. You can threaten traffic in it. There are lots of people watching it. It's a very important piece of, transport infrastructure. But I just wanted to say, because I saw that like, go out and start buying hundreds and hundreds of gallons of gas, as much as you can possibly own, fill up every car, fill up every tank that you have, blah, 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 whatever, which is just exactly what leads to supply chain shock and runs, like we saw in the pandemic and stuff like that. So it's panic-inducing, fear-mongering, clickbaity content. Gas could certainly get more expensive. Traffic through the strait has certainly been reduced, but you can go look at it right now. There are still boats and ships going. So again, I'm not going to sit here and bloviate to say that, like, this is how it works. But I do know that you cannot just close that. So that's worth doing some actual reading and not just grabbing the super clickbaity headline and taking it as gospel.
Excellent.
Yeah, I heard it was closed, so I was like, oh, I guess it's closed. But then also I saw a tanker just yesterday went through it, and like one got hit with something like a drone or something. So I was like, okay, I guess tankers are still trying to go through.
It's also important to recognize that, like, the biggest superpowers involved in this particular conflict are also the global masters and leaders in propaganda and misinformation and, mass manipulation. So I would not trust, personally, and this is sad to say, but I wouldn't trust news coming out of Iran, and I wouldn't trust news coming out of the United States that describes something as an extreme one way or the other. There are not a lot of global superpowers or powers in general that are better at misinformation and misleading the public than the United States or Iran Russia's got nothing on how good we are at disseminating bad info. So, they're like the video of a tanker being blown up. We genuinely do not know who fired on it. It was an Iranian tanker, but they could have blown it up themselves. Like, nobody knows. And I'm sorry, we're just not going to know.
Can I very quickly on this topic plug friend of the show, all around good guy, Himu Rahman and interval.news. If you haven't seen his videos on TikTok specifically yet, where so many of these stories are suppressed, you got to check it out. The headlines you're missing, you can download them on the App Store, get them on Google Play. It's a startup, it's new, and they are working to source the stories that are propagandized, uncovered, and not in a sensational like alt left and right kind of way. Himu is excellent. This is worth supporting. It's worth checking out. They're hiring. They've got a lot of documents about how they source stories, how they vet stories to give you confidence that what you're reading is in fact closer to the truth. Interval.news. Not sponsored, but hopefully they'll blow up, and then we can rep them all the time just because we love them. Mm-hmm. Okay, back to the macro question. Will, can you help us understand what's happening and how to make sense of it?
Yeah. War in the Middle East, particularly war in Iran, creates a lot of fear that supply in oil will be constricted. 20% of the world's global oil trade flows through the Strait of Hormuz. So if it's closed or restricted, that means less supply is going through, but also supply chain costs are more expensive because it takes longer time for the ships to go from point A to point B, and supply chain costs go up. And then also they will charge more because they are putting ships through an active war zone. There's a risk that goes to that. So supply chain costs go up. This will help to drive PPI inflation up, which has been hot the past 2 months. CPI and PCE inflation have been going down, but included in that is energy. And one of the reasons why PCE and CPI inflation have been going down is because gas has gotten so cheap. But now gas will get more expensive. Gas over the weekend went up 10%. I'm not sure where it's at right now, but it cooled off a little bit to about only 6% or 7% as of this morning. And with gas getting more expensive, and then temporarily you'll see a rise in CPI and PCE inflation, combined with the hot PPI inflation, that now puts the Fed in position where the Fed goes, can't cut rates if inflation's gonna go up in the short term, so can't do that. And now the odds of rate cuts are basically zero for the next meeting or two from the Fed. And then you also combine that the new head of the Fed that was appointed by Trump is a policy hawk, meaning that he likes rate cuts. He wants to see the balance sheet reduced further from the Fed. These are restrictive monetary policies. And now you have the market going, 6 months ago, I thought we were going to be getting a bunch of rate cuts in 2026. And now maybe we don't. So that'll be a negative for the stock market, probably a negative for crypto, although crypto's already down so much, maybe.
What isn't a negative for crypto at this point?
No, right? It's so down that no one's left to sell.
No rate cut, crash. Rate cut, crash. War, crash. War's over, crash. Corruption, crash.
This is crypto.
That's why I wore my red shirt today.
That's why I wore my brown pants today.
Yeah. But no, that's it. So, warring around, oil price goes up, means inflation goes up, means Fed can't cut rates just yet, and bad for market. There you go.
Robot Stekler had a question at the start of the stream that I'd like to talk about, asking what opportunities are there in tokenized oil if we want to take advantage of this volatility? And I have to let you know that right now there are not good opportunities for most tokenized commodities. The single exception I might give is gold. XAUT, which is Tether's gold token, has a market cap of several billion. PaxG is another one. Paxos Gold, several billion, and they account for like 73% of the tokenized gold market. They've done, per Tiger Research, 178 billion in volume in 2025, surpassing every major gold ETF except GLD, the world's second largest gold investment products by volume. There are also some energy tokens for like electricity. They're really, though, not widely listed. And we're starting to see agriculture products. We talked to a guy in East Denver, Josh. He was telling us about his access to grain and his plans to tokenize it. I don't want to give away his secret sauce, but that kind of thing will happen more and more. But, tokenization doesn't solve everything. It still requires, if you got a physical asset, some kind of offline vault storage. The standards for proof of reserve are like totally up in the air. They definitely don't match like TradFi grade audits, and mostly they remain unregulated, because it's like, who regulates this? Is it the CFTC? Are we doing MiCA stuff? Are we doing SEC stuff? A lot of the issuers are very concentrated right now. So gold has proved that it works, but there are significant barriers to actually participating in tokenized markets. There's liquidity, there's regulatory stuff, and then how are we going to enforce this compliance? In the meantime, Stekler and everybody listening, you are going to see a lot more scam narratives about tokenized products that are effectively junk. And in particular, Stekler asked about one called the USOR token. A cursory Google search will tell you that this token, dude, it is a scam and you should run from it as fast as you can. I have seen TikTok videos about this that I suspect are from the people who launched this token. Okay, USOR, listen to me now. If you have seen this token, It's peddled as a U.S. government-backed tokenized oil reserve token, but it's a meme coin that was launched on the Solana network. I even did a quick Google just to confirm, because after I saw a video like this, I was like, what? And I found the article. It was on Yahoo Finance. That's how you know that, like, the rumors gotten bad, is when even Yahoo Finance has to post about it. It was launched at the end of January, and a couple of videos were produced claiming that there were, the U.S. government was tokenizing oil. I just discovered this. Please find it. You're not going to have long kind of vibes, right? And it blew up. It had traded $5 to $6 million in daily volume on its second day. Fully diluted value was around 20 million. I haven't checked it now, but I just want to confirm for you that US oil, USOR, all these tokens that you see pop up are almost certainly going to be scams. If the US is tokenizing oil, I promise you, you're going to see it coming from a long way away, and we'll tell you about it.
But if there was ever a U.S. government to just launch a shitter on Pump.fun and actually make it be their official product, it would be this one. Which is a great pivot to bring up the staggering level of insider action and corruption taking place in this particular gaggle of dipshits. So, in a surprise to nobody, prediction market activity from several fresh accounts tied to actions that the U.S. government was about to take made several hours before they took them. And I'm speaking specifically about the missile strikes beginning. That happened again. These accounts made lots of money for themselves by betting that these strikes were about to happen several hours before they did. In any court of law, yes, that would qualify as circumstantial evidence, but it's like so flagrant, and the fact that it happens every time, and the fact that the president's immediate family sits on the strategic board of advisors and the board of both Kalshi and Polymarket, and that they have familial investment through a family-owned venture capital firm into Polymarket, should tell you that, hey, that coincidence is like pretty sus. So I can't believe that this shit is still allowed. I think it's real rich that we're talking about like regulation and clarity and like, investor protections coming into the space at the same time that the people who are in charge of doing that are both insider trading the stock market with all of their personal information and also now gambling on prediction markets by making bets that they know will come true because they have the power to make them come true, which leads into a whole bunch of other drama because I don't know if you guys have seen the Kalshi Polymarket beef right now, but Kalshi notoriously over the weekend hosted and ran a prediction market specifically about the Ayatollah leaving power. I think the exact phrasing was the Ayatollah out of power. And then they decided, after he is no longer in power because of that, they were going to cancel that market. And so anyone who lost money, and anyone who won just simply got their bet refunded. And so there's a lot.
Brutal.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama about it. And now basically there are just accusations that like, hey, whenever a major market goes the wrong way and the platform would like lose a lot or whatever, just say, hey, for some obscure, vague reason, we're not going to support or allow this market to exist, and we're just going to refund people. But a lot of the damage was already done. And then there was a ton of user reports coming in stating that even though they were technically supposed to receive a refund, they did not receive a full refund on the bet that they made. Which then, it just leads to all sorts of other questions, specifically around prediction markets, which every day that goes by, I just have more and more problems with them. And, part of me wants to say like, yep, you should have the right to bet or gamble your money however you want. But like in some instances, I think we're just seeing repeated examples of the fact that like, this is not safe, secure, or guaranteed. And you really are just playing with fire with all of it. I think a great example, which I'm sure you guys talked about last week, is the fact that and this is a major disappointment for me too, by the way. ZachXBT teasing this like drop about some insider action that he was going to expose, which led to the immediate creation of multiple prediction market bets that he alone had the power to then influence the outcome of and could have profited on. It doesn't make any sense for someone with his like contextual knowledge and experience to make a post like that. And then he disclosed that the entire investigation was paid, which means like, okay, so now you can just like hire him to do a hit piece on your competition because who knows who actually retained him to do what. I thought that was insane, and I cannot believe he's not receiving more flack for that, because nothing screamed like, if he watched that happen anywhere else, he would have immediately set up red flags and opened an investigation of his own and did whatever. Like, the entire thing just made no sense. And I still, for the life of me, cannot figure out why he made that one post that he knew was going to start a prediction market battle. And not to mention that there were like, Twitter affiliate badge wearing accounts for Axiom, the firm that he ended up writing his expose on, who were telling people to take the no bet beforehand. Like, it's definitely not us. No bets on Axiom are free money. And then there you go. So, and then millions of dollars were bet and traded and whatever circulated on those exact bets, all enabled by the fact that he posted that ahead of time instead of just dropping the article like he always does. I've never seen this like Spaceballs-esque, preparing to prepare announcement for an announcement from someone like him. Probably because until this point he knew or respected like how those things would be received. So I don't know. That's just it was diabolical, and I can't believe that he did that, to be very honest with you. Like, I'm obscenely disappointed.
I don't know how he would. I mean, how are we going to break news in the future about certain stories and avoid that? Unless Polymarket and Kalshi.
I can tell you one way that you could soften the blow of that is to not do exactly what he did. Like, he took the step to guarantee that would happen. He took no measures to prevent that from happening, which is the insane part. Not to say that like you're going to 100% shield and protect yourself from being a victim of something like that, but like you don't have to build the market yourself and hand it to everyone. And that's exactly what he did. It's an insane thing that he did. And if someone has like a reason, or if he does, I've not even seen him do anything except like lash out at people for questioning it. So I have no idea. Like, it's just a very strange instance that happened from the last account that I expected to do it. But I guess another one bites the dust.
Another one bites the dust.
The result is that me as a casual reader or consumer of his content and his investigations and his research, I trust him significantly less than I did a week ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. Okay, I have to issue a really quick clarification that thank you to Magic, premium member of the Rise Up community and all-around good guy, gave me a little tip about tokenized oil. I didn't say this because I didn't want to confuse anybody, but you can trade perpetuals, futures, like what will the price of oil be, using leverage on platforms like Hyperliquid with a VPN. You can also try Lighter or Dreamcash, but they too will require a VPN. And on Hyperliquid specifically, the trading volume on the dollars to oil futures markets have been nuts. I wanted to ask though, Will, what does it mean when there's like maybe it's Hyperliquid specific, what does it mean when there's like a flat candle on a chart? Does that mean that the market was like not working? You see this here?
What time frame are you on?
This is like it looks like a daily.
You're on the 1 hour?
It's 1 hour. Sorry.
Yeah,
so,
it looks like a chart I don't want to touch.
How small is that market? Because that looks like something that doesn't have any liquidity.
Oh, no,
no
dude.
liquidity in it.
This is millions of dollars a day in this market.
That's not a lot.
That's even weirder.
Yeah, but people have been going nuts on this particular market on Hyperliquid for oil futures. This is the 24/7 place that you're able to trade like dollars for oil futures, and it was going gangbusters on.
I mean, that hourly volume is $32,000.
No. I think that's 32,000 million. Am I nuts? I think this is
$32,000.
No. I don't think so.
Well, anyway, that chart looks like something I should never touch. It tells me that there's not a lot of liquidity. A lot. Can't talk.
Really weird looking.
Yeah, it looks really weird. I wouldn't touch it.
Is that but what does the candle mean?
I don't know, dude. It looks like I don't want to touch it. It looks like I'm going to lose all my money. I'm not touching it. I don't know. I can't tell you. It looks bad. It looks awful. I wouldn't tell people to go trade on Hyperliquid's oil USDA.
Oh, no, I'm definitely not telling people to do it. I'm saying, this is a clarification because while you really can't buy spot oil in crypto token form, you can trade futures for oil and other commodities like it. Lighter, Dreamcash, so on and so forth. Now, Will, I know we've got you for 10 more minutes, so it's about that time you need to start thinking about riding your dogs and ponies into the sunset. If you're asking a question, we've got a couple coming in about max caps. We had a question about Nomi and other kinds of scams and schemes. We'll get to those in a minute. Hold your horses. Leave your questions in the comments. And Will, where do you want to take this in our last few minutes before you got to ride?
Let's see. Bitcoin just printed its 5th monthly red candle in a row. Second time in history.
I don't understand why it matters.
Tell me fact. No, it's just like a sad historical trend.
Okay.
But
do you know what happened last time it did this? Did it?
2018 bear market.
Yeah. Okay.
2018 bear market had 6 monthly red candles in a row.
Yeah,
so
I gotcha.
We're tied for second longest, but yeah, buying when markets are red instead when they're green, typically good for long-term holding. But no, I mean, like, I'd be keeping I'm just keeping my eyes most closely on the stock market. If I can speak plainly, just regular English is hard sometimes, but because this is enough potential uncertainty around rate cuts and with oil going up and inflation and all of the unemployment getting a little bit worse here and there, although we had one good jobs report recently. I'd be looking, I'm still looking for like at least a 5% correction in the stock market and then seeing how that affects crypto. But for me, if it just comes to crypto specifically, it's a super easy market. Bitcoin, it will range between 68 to 58K. And until Bitcoin breaks above or below that, you won't see a really big move in crypto. But if Bitcoin is above 68K, you can see it to 77K. Bitcoin breaks below 58, 56K, see it down to about 47K pretty quickly, my personal opinion. And in the meantime, I'm just buying a little bit of Bitcoin and sitting back, and I'm just trying to stack up some cash and see if there's a trade here or there I can take. But I'm not really like watching charts too closely. I'm spending most of my personal time and energy trying to get as much cash as I possibly can, making sure it's earning interest in a safe way, and waiting for an opportunity. The stock market's too high for me to like. Gold is too high for me to like. If I'm just looking to like add to spot positions for long-term holding, everything's too high except for crypto, which is why I'm just kind of keeping my eyes there, waiting to see how the stock market moves to see if it can bring crypto down lower, and really just stacking cash and earning some nice interest and yield on it for when I do feel confident there's a bottom. So that's what I'd say. I'd say the most important thing to do right now is continue to research, upgrade your own skills, and make sure you have as big of a stack of cash as possible for when it is time to invest in the right opportunities, because times will get better, rate cuts will come, the Fed will add to their balance sheet, war will finally stop at some point, and there'll be a time where markets are ripping across the board for all the fun things. That's it. Just gotta be patient.
Okay, here's a fun thing question. Projecting to the future, April 15th, Robot Stecklerish says, April 15th, I get a bonus payday. Do I shove it all in BTC? What historically happens around that time? I don't know. I feel like
typically the market goes up, but
Yeah.
you got to think about this though. Like Bitcoin's never existed in like as tough of an economic time. Granted, COVID, but like extreme exception, because people were also being given money directly by the government as well. There's never been like as uncertain of a time in a normal economic period, right? So we don't really know how Bitcoin's going to react around tax time. We've had inflation kind of be a little bit of a bitch for about 2 years now, 3 years. And people don't have a ton of cash. We see debt on credit cards going super, super high. So if people are given an influx of cash, are they going to invest it, or are they just going to sock it away? Is something that's safe, or does it go into Bitcoin? I don't think so. I think it goes into somewhere safe. I think it pays down bills. I think it buys gas and food and stuff like that. So, but historically, tax a day is typically a boost to crypto. But we've never been in as uncertain of a time economically outside of COVID.
Oof. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Will. We'll see you back for Market Watch tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
He's your friend and he's mine, Mr. William Watson.
Bye, everybody.
Bye for now,
Good day.
brother. You can catch Will and our friend Doug. He's in the comments on TikTok right now, tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, or wherever you are, whenever you listen, by getting the links to this and other episodes at rumshq.com. I got to tell you again, while you're there, if you're trying to learn crypto and you have a question, you want to navigate without losing money for a scam or a scheme, the best way to learn with us is not just to watch the live shows, but is to connect with other crypto users in the context of a safe community. And for us, that community lives 24/7 at community. That's the website, rumshq.com. Type that in your favorite internet browser, smartphone, computer, doesn't matter. Sign up for a free profile, and within minutes, you will be chatting with the real Alex, the real Evan, the real Will, the real Solom and Tori and Doug and everybody else that we know and love. The only thing missing is you. Alex, I saw you peeking at a comment, so I'm glad to see where you want to take it, but I thought there are a couple of different little scam questions here. Does that seem like a good place to go?
Yeah. I think just to echo kind of what Will said, though, like I do not have, even personally, like any sort of high conviction in really any particular direction of the market, except confused and manipulated. So, with that, I guess I'm just kind of in this awkward position where I'm like, we've never seen times like this. The asset is too young to be able to say, like, with, any sort of degree of even partial certainty at this point that, yeah, lower for sure. Yep, higher. Yep, flat. Like, it's seriously, who knows? Like, there's a compelling case for all of it. But at this point, I don't know. I'm pretty much just like pretty firmly in the camp that, like, I don't think that this is over anytime soon. I would be more surprised to see it stay here or continue, or to like start to go up again, than I would to see it continue to bleed. Because I don't know, things are pretty bleak right now. And like I was saying in response to a comment earlier, it's getting harder and harder to trust data that we usually base market sentiment on. And that's not a great feeling. So, trust in our institutions of government or, market soothsayers is like an all-time low and only getting worse. And I don't see that improving anytime soon. I don't know, it's just bad. I would be very careful about like full porting in any direction at this point. But, on a long-term time horizon, little bits is pretty much the only thing that I can say that I'm doing with any kind of certainty.
Okay, helpful. Alex, we had a couple of questions about different things that people thought were scams, and I feel like the best one to start with would be this max cap thing and talking about copy trading. We had a comment on Facebook a couple of days ago from David Cortland, who's here now. Hey, David, hope you're well. Thanks for the question. He asks, are you at all familiar with max caps? Is it a scam? And max caps is one of those things I feel like I had heard about it, but I had not seen it before myself. And he sent me a website that I'm going to show on screen here. It's called Max Caps. Do not visit this website, by the way. maxcaps.pro. Okay. We're going to show it live so that you can walk through in real time what this looks like. Okay. Now, Max Caps is in fact a legitimate company with a different website that is legitimate. It's a British company, I do believe. Maybe Alex, you can verify the actual handle or something like that for people who want to know. I'm not entirely sure what services they offer. I know they're a legitimate service though. This website claims it's going to revolutionize your digital trading experience. And like many pig butchering sites, if that term is new to you, write it down, pig butchering. It's got all these buttons that just prompt you to take action. Okay. About us, why us, honesty and transparency to financial services. We maintain high standards. We help Forex traders, but I don't see any actual certifications or anything. Why us? This is not about us. We recognize the challenges faced by millions of individuals struggling to manage their finances. So we're going to help them do it. They claim to have paid out $100 million to traders. They claim to have 180 countries registered with us. 13 million volume of trades monthly. What a weird way to phrase that, volume of trades. And average payout processing time, 3 hours. Okay, so all this is designed to make me think that they're going to make money for me if I give money to them. Get started, get started, get started. I click the legal button. They've even got terms and conditions, a privacy policy. Wow, okay. They've got crypto, they've got Forex, they've got stocks. A lot of claims, but no real secret sauce here. The final clincher is all your financial assets in one place. Stocks, cryptocurrencies. Built for today's ambitious earners with a bunch of fake reviews, okay? Look at this. Everything you can ask for. I'm super happy. It has been recommended to me as my first broker. Highly recommended. Really good experience, but only gave him 4 stars. Only gave him 4 stars, said, great. Okay, that's odd. If you dug deeper, you would find a lot more red flags. This is one of the better sites I've seen because they do in fact have like a legal set terms and conditions that you can see. Like that's pretty cool. But make no mistake, if you were to click log in and get started today, if you were to create an account here and send this company money, then what's going to happen to you is you're going to find that you're not able to withdraw it. They might have a nice dashboard. I bet with a website like this, they probably do, that you can click in where when you send the money, it shows up there. But if you send these people money or crypto, you're not going to be able to withdraw it. And this is how pig butchering scams work. They fatten you up with claims and promises. And then when it's time, they slaughter you. Usually these are organized criminals. They are participating in other forms of crime like money laundering and identity theft that make it very, very difficult when you send them your money for you to ever get it back. Even if we can track or trace it using blockchain, it is like rare, like less than 1% of people who give their money to a pig butcher ever get it back. So the best thing you can do is have a community of friends who are crypto users who can help you spot this stuff. The Rise Up community is a great place, community.rumshq.com. We'd love to see you there. No question is a dumb question. It's always better to get a second opinion on this stuff before you send somebody money. If it seems too good to be true, though, it probably is. And you can avoid most scams and schemes in crypto by avoiding anything that offers copy trading, passive income. We'll trade it for you. Just avoid it. Alex, can we talk about legitimate copy trading or, max caps? I don't know if you happen to see it. Is that in fact the service that they offer is copy trading?
There are several different, the UK based max cap is a business finance provider that does like business loans. There's Max Capital Pro Trade, a brokerage somewhere else that has a copy trading platform. But I don't even know. There's everything about this is just like giving me the heebie-jeebies. And I don't know, like there's like 5 different businesses that have that name in some like iteration or another. Max Capital Pro Trade. So there's like maxcapitalpro.com. But I don't know. Everything about all of these just like sounds bad. That name just like is ugh.
Yeah. Alex,
I don't know. It says scams. I would literally like walk away from the entire thing because maybe some of it, maybe one of these websites is like legit and you could actually withdraw something from. But at the end of the day, like the thing to tell yourself is that people have been like copy trading notoriously profitable traders for ages. And guess what? There's not like a million bajillionaires as a result of copy trading. I don't know anyone personally. And like all the traders I've ever spoken to who like lean on a copy trading strategy and are just like wildly successful.
No. The only ones I know, Alex, are the ones who are copyable. Can you tell people how that would work? Like I've got 10,000 followers and, all I post about is copy my trades, use my link, go to this platform. And it's a legitimate platform. How do I make money and how do you lose money?
Because I have convinced you through my size and purported influence that whatever I say is going to move a market or do something. And so you can follow along when in reality, you are the market that I'm moving. You are always going to get after the fact, secondhand information as a result of me doing something, which means that I will front run you every single time.
Meaning you will beat me to sell before I do.
I will beat you at the game every time because I'm setting up the game arena. I'm handing you the deck of cards that you're going to play with. I organize them beforehand. I'm giving you all of the information. You need me to tell you what to do before you can do anything. I'm not equipping you to be autonomous. There are so many instances and examples all over crypto Twitter about large influential accounts using followers for exit liquidity. It's a very scammy, very extractive practice. It's not worth it. Maybe some people in there get lucky. They rely on those people who got lucky to tell the story to be more compelling to other people in the audience to then enable more people to be extracted from. It's a bad rigged game. You're playing a rigged game and you're the target.
Yeah.
And the best that you could hope for is that you like manage to get lucky, but you might as well just buy a lottery ticket.
So I saw the follow-up comment from David that said, but Coach JV uses max caps. That's red flag right
by
there.
Itself.
And even if it was the real Coach JV, I would say it's a red flag. I don't know John Vasquez personally. I'm sure if we sat down for lunch together, I would enjoy the conversation and have a good meal. But I don't think he's a helpful person to follow for crypto advice. And I also think that the primary reason he's not helpful to follow is because he sets you up to believe misinformation. And he has so many scammers because of that. The very first post when I search John Vasquez, Coach JV, any of it, is in fact a scam. A lot of scammers, David, are using your favorite influencer's image. They're stealing their videos because you trust that person in order to take your money. This one is a scam for the popular QFS pig butchering scam, making you believe that you need to message him privately to set up your QFS account. This is not JV. This is a scammer impersonating him. And I also saw your comment, David, about they sent you double the money. Listen to this. This is another popular thing that happens with crypto pig butchering. Alex, you're a sucker and you want to make some money. You're not doing well. You just heard about crypto.
Huzzah.
And yeah, exactly. Congratulations. And you find a helpful video from me. All right, Evan. And it's got text on the screen and it says, try my new investing platform. And you're like, wow, this is the first time I've ever understood crypto. I'm going to click this link and I'm going to go to this guy's investing platform. And you send me $1. Because I told you I would double your money and I send you $2 back.
Mm-hmm.
So now what are you thinking?
Send you more.
Send me more. It worked, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to borrow money from your brothers, your sisters, your mothers. You're going to over leverage yourself. You're going to take out a bank loan. This is how really sophisticated pig butchers get you. It is only later when you start thinking, as you watch their dashboard go up, or, I'd like to withdraw some more money, that you run into problems like, oh, I can't withdraw. Oh, I've got to pay a fee. They tell you, yeah, you got to pay a gas fee, or, oh, we're based in Europe and you're in the US. You got to send us $400 more to get your money out. They're stringing you along. These fees are junk, Alex. I'm so sorry to tell you, but the second you sent me money, I had already run away and bought a new ice cream with it. And then when you sent me more money, I bought an ice cream factory with it. The only person making any money here is me. This is a junk website I set up for you, dude. These
things operate as businesses. They have like, they have overhead. And one of those overheads is like making smaller, by scale payouts to users that they believe they might be able to get more of. That's a risk they're willing to take in order to convince you to do more.
Oh yeah.
I've seen instances where there's a guy that we used to know who used to make a lot more content on this on TikTok specifically, Hector, Crypto Comics back in the day. I haven't really seen anything from him in a while, but one of the initial like little trading bot strategies or something like that he did, in addition to like counter phishing wallet drainers, which was also a fun one.
Loved it.
He would like give people the seed phrase to a wallet he had already corrupted, and then when they deposited the ETH to like pay for the this was back in the day when like you had to do a decent little chunk of ETH to like move anything. Now it's a quarter. He would immediately drain his own wallet after the scammer got into it to try to withdraw the like fake stablecoin deposit that you couldn't move. It was really funny. He was a programmer and he kind of knew what he was doing. But the other one that I've seen him take advantage of is exactly that. He would like fall into these butchering scams, and then he would give them a small little thing, expressing like nerves with them about how the platform works and saying like, I'm sorry, like I'm very excited, but I'm really scared. I've seen scams like this, whatever. I have this much that I really want to invest. But I just kind of want to see if the platform works. They would always pay him out that little double, and then he would just cut and run. And he made a good little bit from it, but he was pretty good, and he could like audit the contracts himself and all this kind of stuff. So they do pay you out, and the magic there is that every time they do that, you get more confident until all of a sudden you're like, okay, here's the 20 grand that I really like. This is going great. I won one more big job and I'm out of the game. And that's where they fleece you.
Yeah, that's exactly where they fleece you. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. There's no such thing as get rich quick in crypto or anywhere else. Just to touch on one or two other scams, somebody was asking about the Grant Cardone RWA thing. I don't even need to look at it to know. First of all, what we said about tokenized oil applies to tokenized real world assets of every kind. There are definitely buildings that have been tokenized. There are fractionally owned buildings, but for the most part, real estate on chain, meaning on a blockchain, crypto real estate that you can buy the deed to as a token, mostly is illiquid. Meaning anybody offering it to you now is offering you a novelty. Tokenization is real. It's definitely the future. But like we said about oil, there are lots of regulatory bodies that have to get their ducks in a row before anybody at any serious scale can invest in these things. And anybody offering you a real estate token now is either like an early tinkerer or innovator, like, I don't know, me or Alex would probably think it was really cool to tokenize the deed to our house, but there's no guarantee that our state government, our local national government would recognize that.
Correct.
Grant Cardone is doing this to sell you something. He is saying, hey, I'm going to be the first one to tokenize real estate. If you want to get in on the bottom floor, send me $10. And like, yeah, you'll probably get a token for it, but you're buying his next jet. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, he's a salesperson.
He's a salesperson. And he's good at it, man. He's really
very good at it. Yep.
So watch out for that. BBBY will have tokenized real estate in July. Lots of people have tokenized real estate right now. If you want to see the big movers here, check out something like Mondo, Propy. Go ahead.
It's like you said, I could literally go create a token right now to represent my house. And do whatever, but like the real movement is going to happen. Actually, this is a great point to highlight this whole like regulation is coming and it's going to save us bullshit. There is no movement in any sort of direction, policy wise or legislatively, to officially or legally recognize the token equivalent of a real world asset yet. that would be an example of something that needs to go into policy that we just don't have at this point. It's like the tax stuff, right? We're talking about like really frustrating experiences with trying to do crypto taxes lately, especially given now that centralized exchanges are crucial in influencing policy on the Hill. Apparently, they get to make their own specific investments and they control what your transaction history looks like. So it's kind of one of these things. There's no policy yet to make that legit. It's in theory a good idea, but it requires a lot of moving pieces. Like even non-token, I can't just like put a for sale sign in my front yard and then have a guy drive by who's like, I really like the look of that house. How much you want for it? And then I tell him a number and then he writes me a check and then he's like, okay, it's your house now. Like we know how it's a complicated process to sell a piece of real estate. There's a lot that goes into it. So you cannot just create a token and call it a day. So that's a catchy little headline. I talked to a guy a long time ago at a conference once who was asking me, he's like, hey, I have this really old Jaguar. It's really cool. I would really like to sell it as like 100, or 200 NFTs or something, each representing a part. And, anyone who owns one would be able to like come to the storage facility where I keep it and like get permission to drive it around a track or something. That contract only means anything as long as he says it does.
That's right.
So yeah, it's kind of just one of those things. It sounds great. It makes a good headline. He can, use that to say, because of that, like this token is the one I believe in, or this blockchain is the one I'm going to do this on, or whatever. And
first tokenized Jaguar. Yeah,
it's kind of one of those things. So it doesn't really mean anything until there's something legally binding that says it does. The gold thing actually is a good example of that. We were talking about like all these different tokenized metals and stuff, and they seem good and plenty of them work and like they trade and you can absolutely, I mean, even DeFi Carrot has a turbo gold token, where you can do that. It tracks the price of gold as according to, several different indexes. But we've not yet seen an instance wherein any custodian of the gold that backs a tokenized gold has ever had to do a mass payout. Our friends at Swarm have, a curated vault of like specifically serialized gold that they have individually tokenized and are selling the contracts to. And the German government is actually the only one to ever like legally recognize the relationship between the token and the actual bar of gold. But even in that instance, we have not yet seen an example of those token holders trying to withdraw the gold from the vault that custodies it for them, which is technically your right. We haven't seen that yet. We just have a lot. It's a very like untested foundation.
Alex Steckler said, I'll buy your house token, Alex, but I get to pick out the bathroom decor.
No deal. I don't know why, but that fills me with fear. Pick my wallpaper.
We also had mention of a couple of other like common scams. I've seen Nomi mentioned a while back in the comments. Sorry, Tay, for the delay we took around another scam to get there. There's like 5 tokens called Nomi. Do you ever remember this one? There was a meme coin on the Binance Smart Chain that it would like you buy our token and stake it and you get rewards in Shiba. And like they're going to have a wallet soon. We're locking our liquidity, that kind of thing. It's like they probably launched a meme coin that failed and they were like, what can we do to get more people to do this? It's a race to zero. There's also another Nomi that promises to have some kind of global platform for managing digital wealth, but I don't know. I'm waiting. If you're watching the show and you're like, okay, so you guys dog everything. How am I going to be early to stuff? When am I ever going to make life-changing money in crypto if I don't try some of these projects? Listen, Alex and I have been here for a long time, and it's not that we're the smartest guys around, but ask anybody who's been here for a while. You are going to lose more money than you make by chasing the new hot thing. Don't you think if Alex and I, or shout out ProVault, good friend of the show in the comments, glad to see you here, brother. Don't you think if we, or the people who worked at Ripple, who know more about it than pretty much anybody, pretty much anywhere, really believed that it was going to be this like future incredible thing, that we wouldn't just sell our houses and go buy it? that we wouldn't be churning every dollar possible. Like, why would I be buying Bitcoin so religiously all the time, every day, if I really, as somebody who knows a lot about this stuff, believed I could get more money somewhere else?
Because, Evan, that's I don't know. I was trying to come up with some other way to move the goalposts again, because that's
oh yeah, because there's a partnership, and because there's a.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Because the levers of suppression are hard at work, and they're keeping me from following my true calling to just leverage my entire net worth to buy this one token. I don't know.
Shout out to CJ in the comments, friend of the show here. Do you have a source for this? The XRPL is dominating 63% of the tokenized U.S. treasuries and expanding to real estate. My friend, have you heard about Tether? Tether buys more U.S. treasury bonds than most countries in the world, and I don't think it's even close. I don't know if Ripple.
Yeah, I know that comment is coming in good faith, so I'd be really curious to read.
I would too.
The source there, because the most recent circulation about the XRPL and RWA tokenization TVL was that they had passed Solana, and it's not to say that there's none, because there is, totally. But even that article, like it quoted a dashboard. Evan, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the
It's like RWA XYZ.
Yeah, June? It's one of those.
I'm on RWA right now to see if I can find it.
I think that was it. Anyway, the article that said XRPL flips Solana for RWA tokenization TVL had a direct link to the dashboard that they claimed proved it. And if you followed the link to the dashboard that they claimed proved their point, it specifically proved the opposite. Not to say that there was nothing, it just hadn't flipped. It could have been. I know this one. I'm not sure if this was. I'd have to go back and find it. I can make a point to do that. But the other source for the actual like flip volume was literally just a press release from Ripple. So it's like, okay, this can't be verified.
So take a look at this though. This is RWA.xyz. And this is a great website that I actually hadn't learned about until maybe, was it last year or 2024 when we had Jeebs on for the first time and he was telling us about this, and I was like, oh, yes. Snap, look at this thing. Correct. And this is particularly U.S. Treasury product metrics. So tokenized U.S. government debt like T-bills, notes, bonds, Treasury-focused money market funds, and you can dig into all the different sources. You can find out where they get this stuff, but I want to draw your attention to this little pie chart over here that shows us market caps grouped by network. And you'll notice that in this pie, the biggest slice, unsurprisingly, is Ethereum, 5.6 billion, accounting for a little over half. The second biggest slice is BNB chain, about 25% probably. It looks like a 8% slice is Solana. And then for the people in podcast land who can't quite see, the XRP ledger is reporting 300 million. And that, I don't know, Alex, that looks like a 4% slice, I would say. I'd have to, get the exact numbers.
Yeah, maybe.
But we've got a chart over here that shows all the different like products that are represented here. Of course, the largest is the BlackRock USD Institutional Liquidity Fund. That's on ETH. Circle USYC, also Ondo's US dollar yield, which is multi-chain, but it's mostly ETH. A lot of these exist on a couple of places, but mostly the stuff that only exists in one place exists on, yep, you guessed it, Ethereum. The BUIDL fund is, of course, the largest tokenized securities.
It's interesting. So there's a couple things to be aware of here. One, so that overall percentage breakdown is 2.75%. If the total tracked there is 10.9 billion, and that one on the ledger there is 300 million, that's 2.7%. Sometimes the way that these headlines can be written too, and this is not only true here, this is true everywhere, especially in a place like crypto where there's a bajillion different specific data points that you could pull. It's not hard to find one that makes your claim look more intense or more impactful than it is. So if I was to say, like, what was the actual number that got
300 million was the XRP number?
No, sorry. So specifically 63% of tokenized US treasuries. It's like, okay, so if we're, and the source that it says this was pulled from was rwa.xyz. So if you were to like go in there specifically and try to find the pie chart that says tokenized US treasury, TVL distribution, I'm sure that would be a different number than the overall. But like to me immediately, it just seems like unbelievably unlikely that 63% is a real number, looking at the fact that the overall distribution is less than 3%.
Yeah.
So you just have to be careful. If I wanted to say, try to come up with an example off the top of my head, something to make, I don't know, my business look better. Maybe I'm a lawn care specialist or something, and I have one client and he was really happy. And I said 100% of my clients have given this a 5-star rating, with the fact that there's like one review. Like technically that stat is true, but it's misleading because I've only cut one guy's lawn one time.
Here's some context from CJ. He says total T-bill supply, 79 million tokens. On XRPL, 54 million tokens. Do you have a source for that, CJ? What's the source? Because that's not checking out with this. There are, I see another dashboard here, Alex, that says XRP, the ledger, has had $119 million of inflows, net flows, in the last 30 days, which puts it in the top 10 for like RWA assets on chain. But there's nothing I can see here that gives me any confidence that we're anywhere near that number, CJ. Let us know what the source is, because that's like dubious at best until we can confirm it. It's just like way off from this. And I know you're taking our word for it if you're seeing RWA.xyz for the first time, but like I would welcome you to vet that source. And if you want us to maybe walk through that on the show tomorrow, because we're nearing that point where we've got to start to get our dogs and ponies and ride off into the sunset, then we could absolutely do that to like compare whatever source that you're getting this from. We'll check it out. It could be that RWA.xyz is wrong, but I just don't think they are. Yeah, I'd like to know. Ethereum has the rest, about 31%, CJ says. Tiny bits on Sol and Arbitrum. But hey, CJ, let me ask you one more time. Can you give us the source for that? I'd really like to know where. I don't need to know more about what it says. I just need to know where it's coming from. That would be really helpful to me so that we could vet this, especially against like RWA XYZ.
Okay, here's some interesting context and nuance. I found this specific stat that says 63%.
Nice. Hell yeah, Alex! I'm giving you a point.
Oh my god, give you the
what?
I'm just trying to click on the citation here. So the XRPL does hold the majority of one specific tokenized T-bill product's supply. Multiple sources confirming that around 63% of the supply of a major T-bill token, which is Open Eden's Vault token, sits on the XRPL. This is a specific product. It has nothing. It's not like the over. So it's exactly what I said based on this. Which let me pull up. There's 3 different sources here.
Alex coming through in the clutch, dude.
It basically what I said is like, yeah, okay, technically this one token, which is a tokenized T-bill from something, has a majority of its supply sitting on the XRPL. Very low trading volume, and it's not like a commonly recognized tokenized US Treasury. It's not official. It just sits there. Whatever Open Eden Vault token is here. So this is from 99 Bitcoins. It's holding a lot of the supply, but the trading happens elsewhere. This is another, actually, this is kind of funny because it's another example of a thing that exists on the XRPL, but there's no activity there. So they had to wrap it and put it on a different blockchain for it to get any traction.
That's painful.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like,
as
the
an
only DeFi
interjection-
activity there is the Solana wrapped XRP.
You know why
it's
they
kind of
have
the
to
same
do
thing.
that? Do you know why they have to do that? And I'm asking, mostly the listeners, our friends, is because
Yeah.
the smart contracts on the XRP ledger, they're not very robust. You might think of smart contracts, they're infrastructure like roads. Ethereum is like a highway. It's paved. It's got lanes. Trucks can go on it. It connects to every road in every town you might want to go to, even to your driveway, to your door. XRP is like if you lived in a rural area and maybe there was like a road to a farm, but it was like gravel or like worn and it wasn't paved yet and there were bumps and potholes. Could you like walk the road to get there better than you could like bushwhack through the forest? Absolutely. But if you wanted to go to Kinko's or the gas station or whatever, that road may not take you there. That's kind of like XRP is like a gravelly road that connected to the highway of Ethereum in order to get you more places. Not saying it's not valuable. There's obviously a lot of stuff happening there. People are bringing money there. The ETF product was really impressive, but you got to take this stuff with a grain of salt. Could Open Eden be a real competitor? Possibly someday. Yeah. They're telling a good story, but it's in their vested interest to tell that story. I see you looking at it over there. Are you just...
It's
chilling?
just I'm just trying to figure out exactly like what this token is.
The T-bill token?
Yeah, basically what I'm seeing here is that like some stuff has been bridged there and it's parked on the ledger, but the trading liquidity and collateral usage is basically all happening on Ethereum.
Yep. Yeah, and let me help while you just puzzle that. CJ posted the RWA XYZ link to this specific chart, and I want to show you, CJ, just on the screen what you're looking at and how to tell the difference, okay? So, like Alex said, this is one specific tokenized product, okay? Open Eden's T-bill vault. But this is not a reflection of all the T-bills. This is a single smart contract vault offering investors direct exposure to short-dated US T-bills via their T-bill token. It's backed by T-bills 1-to-1, so we know that's cool. The market cap, though, look at this. We're talking $90 million, okay? Mm-hmm. If you go over here to the left-hand side, the drop-down menu, and you look at asset classes, US Treasuries, this is a more accurate measure of all the T-bills and other Treasury equivalent instruments on chain, okay? T-bills, notes, bond, Treasury focused money. And we can narrow it down more, but look at this. This is much more accurate. $10.9 billion, and most of it is on Ethereum.
So this is exactly what I said. That if you break this apart and find, a specific instance wherein you can report a high percentage figure to represent something, your gamble then, as the provider of this information, is that you will influence a number of people who will not go further to find the specific nuance and context of that statistic. And it's inflammatory in that someone who wants to see XRP fail would just simply argue with you, also with no basis. And then someone who was a maximalist or extremely committed to believing as many things that would prove their bias to be true about XRP would just argue in favor of it because there is like a source tied to the figure. And both are honestly kind of valid in the sense that they're talking about either a specific number or one that's taken out of context, but neither one of those two analysis of a piece of data is looking at the full picture. Again, it would be like me saying like, yes, my lawn care business has a 100% customer satisfaction, forgetting the fact that I've only cut my mom's lawn before. Meanwhile, my neighbor's lawn care business has cut 40,000 different lawns over the past 10 years, and their average rating is 4.6 stars. So like, yes, technically mine is ranked higher, but you have to look at the full picture to understand why it's a misleading statistic. And this is exactly the same thing. Zoom out and look at the full picture of something, And this is what's frustrating for me personally about this happening in crypto or stocks or investing in general. It's that if you are a person who has put your money behind an asset that you believe to be a good investment, your natural predisposition to receiving new information, especially if it really gasses you up and makes you want to buy more, is that you should treat that with some skepticism and you should try to prove it wrong. Yep. Instead of just believing it at face value, making you much more likely to be duped or led astray. And you might find that in being critically objective about a statistic like that sounds incredible as a headline, you might find that it's justified and true, and you should be really encouraged as an investor to be more involved in that underlying asset, the thing that benefits from that statistic being true. But you should assume, to be safe, that someone is trying to mislead you because someone else stands to make a lot more money from you taking the risk in the first place, regardless of the eventual outcome of the investment. So just be extremely careful. And I would beseech everyone listening to immediately be skeptical upon hearing anything. If I heard that Ethereum now held 80% of all of this, I would want to confirm that because, okay, cool, great, 80%. That's a huge majority. What does that mean for my investment? Should I be excited or should I be worried? Or, if I'm being misled, why am I being misled? What's the motive on the other side of this equation? This is all wrapped up in the practice of critical thought and objective analysis rather than cognitive dissonance and confirmation bias. Because I'm sure that I could find a statistic that says Solana has an overwhelming majority of something, but I could also find one that says Solana is at massive risk because of something. And in a vacuum, both of those some things, whatever they are, could be true. But the conclusion drawn from analyzing that data could be wrong in the grand scheme of things. But if you only look at the first snippet of information and you never look further and you never make the attempt to prove yourself wrong, which is how you learn, the scientific method is not proving anything to be absolutely true. It's proving things to be wrong and then proving something to have not been proven wrong yet. That's the highest standard of provably true that exists in the scientific community, is that, correct, we haven't proved it wrong yet.
We've tested it many, many times, but haven't proved it
yes.
wrong.
So in that sense, just be careful. And actually, this was a great thing to have brought up because we got to go through that entire critical analysis process and arrive at a more realistic conclusion. So please try to get in the habit of doing that for all things, and especially things you're investing in or considering putting more money in. Because ultimately, I want everyone to be successful.
We all do. As a final thought on the way out the door, Alex, I'm going to come to you in a second, but I want to touch this last comment that wraps it up with a bow that said, do you guys get paid to hate on XRP? Because last year I couldn't find anybody saying anything bad about it. I hope that if you audit our content going back 5 years, and first of all, if you do that, take a break, take a nap, because we got a lot of it, that you will find our goal has not been to hype anything, but to tell the truth. We get paid, finally, but we do get paid by people who trust us to tell the truth. And more than that, to help them ascertain truths for themselves. Our channel is not about trust me, trust Alex, trust Will, take our word for it. Our channel is about how can you get your hands on the best data to make good decisions for yourself. And also probably buy some Bitcoin. You know what I mean? But that's it. That's the name of the game. And we're not hating XRP, but we want you to have good context. There's a lot of misinformation about XRP. The XRP army, the people who hold the token, they've been done so dirty by the misinformation about it. So we are trying to balance that by helping you tell a better story. Go ahead.
The reason I say that I'm bored by the XRP conversations is because it's the same shit every time. Someone brings a misleading claim, explain why it's misleading, get accused of blind hatred, person's gone. And in reality, what it is it's like, I don't know. There's more to suggest that XRP would be like a better investment than many other tokens than to say that it is exclusively a bad one. However, it's also true to say, remember, vacuum, zoom out. It's also true to say that more misleading information has been published about the XRP token than any other crypto that I've ever seen, maybe with the exception of like Hex or something.
Yeah.
So have I ever been paid to talk about XRP in any way, shape, or form? No. Would I ever accept money to talk about XRP? No. I can confidently tell you I would not be interested in that money
or any token, right? We really draw a line.
No,
we're not gonna get money to like talk about your token. We just don't.
It's a rule. Yeah, it's specifically a carve out. If someone wants to work with us, the one thing that we will exclude from all coverage would be the token specifically. It would have to be something else.
Or like we'll talk about it, but you know, like what it does, what it doesn't do, and we'll tell you the truth. We reserve the
but
right
advertising an investment vehicle is illegal. So,
hello, Moto. You getting your other show host calling you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn. Okay, all right. This is that time. We've got to go. You got to find us at community.rumshq.com and then tune in tonight for Market Watch, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time with Will and Doug, talking about the macro factors that make markets move. And then we'll be back tomorrow. We have got Matthew Wiley, our social media and research intern, joining the show. He's a friend of the show, member of the community for a long time now. He's in the Rums crew. And we want you to be there to get to meet him if you haven't, to hear about his work and ask him your crypto questions. I'm going to be getting some cats fixed at the start of the show, so he's going to be replacing me tomorrow. Let me know how he does. And then Wednesday, we've got David Phelps, who is the founder of an opinion market. If that's a new term to you, you're going to want to come back. Like prediction markets, different, better maybe. We'll show you how it works. And Thursday, we've got Lou Kerner, the founder of Crypto Mondays, joining us. It's an awesome week full of guests, great ways to participate, get your questions answered. And you know, we say rise up. So my friends, thank you for being the very best part of what we do. Until next time, everybody stay safe, be well, my friends. Rise up.